Hi guys, welcome back and hello if you are new. I hope you're all having a fantastic start to the week. I'm having a really good one because I'm about to go to New York City. This is going to be my first proper holiday in about 3 years. I think the last time we went away was to Poland just before the pandemic in February. So I'm very excited. Anyway, I'm catching up on some of the September releases that I might have missed. And to be fair, a couple of weeks sort of past really. It's kind of mishmash of different bands. But September is so stacked for albums that I didn't want to miss out, essentially. So here's kind of 6 bands that I really think have released incredibly killer material over the last couple of weeks. So I'm going to start things off with Callous Daoboys and Celebrity Therapist.
Everyone remembers their first experience with the...
So, full disclosure, never really heard of the Callous Daoboys before. I had seen their name being bounced around a lot, especially in media. And I was kind of like, okay, well, maybe I'll give this a go. And holy shit. 8 tracks, 7 members, and a hell of a lot to unpack. In terms of who this band sound like, it's kind of all over the place. There are elements of, the Dillinger Escape Plan, Every Time I Die, The Chariot, those kind of bands. I guess, if more modern would be probably Pupil Slicer, Frontier, Ithaca, even actually early Between the Buried and Me, now I come to think of it, like Silent Circus era, that kind of thing, with just how frenetic and crazy it is. The band are totally 100% unpredictable, and I think that's very much the charm of this album and what's kind of made it resonate so much with me as a brand new listener. There are moments of serenity, however, on Violent Astrology and Beautiful Dude Missile, an amazing name for a song, where there's a lot of singing and it gets quite emotional, which I've really enjoyed. But there's also kind of like a jazzy nature on Field Sobriety Practice with those kind of stabbing riffs, which I really liked. What I will say though is you have to be in the right mood for it, otherwise it can be a little bit much. There have been times where I had to put it on and I was like, not in the mood for this. But the future looks incredibly bright for this band and I'm really excited to see where they go from here. After that, we switch gears into the world of power metal and the return of Blind Guardian with The God Machine. So this for me is the first proper Blind Guardian album after Beyond the Red Mirror, which was released in 2015. I see it more as like that was the last sort of album that I really listened to, I guess. The band are a legendary power metal act from Germany, and it's pretty crazy to think that this is album number 12 in their discography. So there's 9 tracks on display here, it's nice and compact. The album has had a lot of critical acclaim, and a lot of people have said that this is Blind Guardian returning to their heaviest, really, and I definitely agree. So there's lots of variety on display here. The album opens with Deliver Us and Destiny, which are both really epic kind of bookends to the record. But then there's more thrash metal influence on Violent Shadows, which I thought was interesting. And then you've got the more cinematic stuff of Life Beyond the Spheres, but also Secrets of American Gods has got an amazing guitar solo. I thought the leads in particular on this album were very strong. And I've got to say, I'm not the biggest Blind Guardian fan. I'm not a massive power metal fan in all truth. But this was a really interesting album, and I think, if you're kind of not sure where to go in terms of power metal, Blind Guardian are always a really good one to start off with. So highly recommend that one for you guys. Next up we have Fallujah, who are returning with Empyrean. This is their 5th album, and it is also the first album to feature Kyle Schaefer and their new bass player, Evan Brewer. And then you've obviously got Scott Carstairs on guitar and then Andrew Baird on drums. So this record, I think, really picks up where Dreamless left off, and also a bit of Undying Light kind of comes in here as well. I think the only thing I didn't really like is that vocals were mixed quite low. That was the only sort of gripe. But other than that, I thought this was a very interesting technical death metal record. It's kind of more on the progressive influences as well, which I always dig. Empyrean is meant to be like a higher plane where these gods exist. So as the record kind of progresses, it's almost like you start to ascend, similar to what you saw on the album's artwork. Which I thought was really cool and kind of fits in with the whole space idea that the band have kind of played with in the past. But the guys in Fallujah are absolutely wonderful, and I can't wait to see them perform some of this stuff live when they come to the UK later this year. So this is actually the second album from Holy Fawn. I'd never really heard of this band until I sort of discovered Death Spells, and ever since then I've not looked back. So previously the band have toured with Death Heaven and are currently on tour with Astronoid, which literally is one of my albums of the year. That band are so incredible. But they're based out of Arizona in Phoenix, and their sound is very cinematic. It kind of moves through a lot of different sort of soundscapes. It's kind of shoegazy, it's a bit post-rock, it's a bit metal. It was co-produced by Mike Watts, who's also worked on Glassjaw and the Dillinger Escape Plan, which is always a big thumbs up for me. And in terms of themes, it vaguely references multiple dimensions and, you know, kind of coexisting timelines from what I've, read. The record is very much a journey and something that you can kind of get lost in, which I really, really love, as I'm sure you guys are coming to know that. What's not good to chill out to, though, is death metal. And Bloodbath have returned with Survival of the Sickest. The band was initially formed in 1998 by Anders Nystrom, Jonas Renkse, Michael Ackerfeld and Dan Swano. So 4 dudes who have got some serious back catalogue with them, and members of Catatonia, Opeth, Edge of Sanity, like big stuff. So this is their 6th album and the first since 2018's The Arrow of Satan is Drawn. Still love that album title. And this is also the debut of the new guitarist Thomas Pilet Akvik. I think I said that right, I'm not sure. Whereas previously the band might have kind of been concentrating on that crunchy HM2 pedal sound, it feels like they've just thrown the book of death metal here. But I personally think that makes it more interesting, it's more well-rounded, there's kind of some surprises which I didn't expect. There's a killer solo on Dead Parade, no pun intended, I promise. Affliction of Extinction as well is a great example of just how fucking tight this band can be. And I also think that Malignant Maggot Therapy, whilst amazing song title, could have come straight out of Cannibal Corpse. There's a bit of a kind of Florida vibe going on here, actually, the more I think about it. But there's also cameos that come in the form of Barney from Napalm Death, Luke from Gorguts, and Morgoth as well. I have absolutely forgotten that guy's name. And now we get to the final band I'm including, which is Russian Circles and their album Gnosis. So Russian Circles are a Chicago-based trio who play instrumental music, basically. Their last record was Blood Year in 2019, which made my album of the year list for that year. They are a seriously brilliant band. And this time with Gnosis, the members of the band actually wrote full songs before even sharing them with the band, which I thought was quite interesting. This is mainly to do with COVID, but the songs were written separately, but they were recorded live as a band. And of course, Mr. Kurt Ballou was at the helm to do that. Overall, it's quite a dark record, but I also think it's quite a sort of summation of what Russian Circles have done so far. There are some really nice sort of clean sections as well. There's a particular song, O'Brien, I probably butchered the pronunciation of that, but it's a really nice sort of 2-minute interlude before we go like straight into like crazy blast beats on the song that precedes it. So there's a little bit more of that, and it's kind of like the ebb and flow, the push and pull of the dynamics, particularly where sort of like heavy and soft are sort of, being referenced on this album. So this is a great album that showcases Russian Circles' signature sound, but with a little bit more restraint as well, which I really dig. So as I did mention, I'm going to sort of name a favourite of mine, and I think that has to go to the Callous Daoboys and Celebrity Therapist. Totally batshit crazy album that you definitely need to check out of all of these records.
The Callous Daoboys win. Flawless victory.
So I hope you guys enjoyed this and that you found a new artist to kind of, dig through in September. There's way more on the way, I'm sure. I've actually got another one of these that I'm going to be putting together. But yeah, I've also got a Behemoth album review, which is coming through. I've just released a Revocation interview, which is really amazing. Really, really interesting chat with Dave Davidson, all about Nether Heaven, Hell. And we also remember our friend Trevor Stannard in that as well. So make sure you check that out. But other than that, I will see you guys very, very soon. Hopefully a bit more tanned when I come back from New York. Take care, and I'll see you soon.